Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Once it is visible, say yes in chat box, please.
Yes, sir, visible.
Yeah, okay, thanks. So this topic is linked with the topic which we discussed day before yesterday on Saturday, on Friday actually. So it is in a physiology of work where we discussed about economics. There we talk about work physiology, etc. So we'll continue. So when we say the physiology, basically it is an science of dealing with functioning of living organisms and their parts. So in our case, we our organs are made out of cells and tissues. So when we say the science of I'm resharing my screen. Is it visible? Please confirm.
Yes.
Okay. From the
Okay,
anatomical
sir.
sorry.
Okay, sir. Carry on, sir.
Okay, okay. Thanks. So, from the anatomical point of view, the structure of the body can be classified into the systems which we have particular functions. So, when we say systems, we have digestive system, we have nervous system, uh, we have breathing system. These are the different kinds of systems where it will have a particular function. Okay, to understand the effect of physical and chemical agents on the body, we need to understand normal functioning of our organs or organ systems which these agents target. So basically, before understanding the effects of chemical, we should know the normal functions of a chemical. So until unless you don't know about the normal functionality of your organs, we are not sure whether it is an impact of a chemical or it is your organ itself, it is not functioning well. అంటే ఏంటంటే కెమికల్ వల్ల వచ్చే ఎఫెక్ట్లు మనం గురించి తెలుసుకోవాలంటే మనము మన ఆర్గాన్స్ యొక్క ఫంక్షనాలిటీ అనేది తెలుసుకొని ఉండాలి. So this system of human body or skin, respiratory systems or cardiovascular systems or nervous system, muscles, liver, kidney, gastrointestinal tract, which is GIT, and ear, and the respiratory system, liver, GIT defend the ill effects of the toxic substances. So they try to fight against. Liver is the biggest one, where it is always fight with the toxic substances. That's why for the whoever is having addicted with the alcohol, we used to see their liver will damage severely because that is an organ where it fight against the alcohol, which is a toxic substance which we are people are consuming. So it's always try to respond to the toxic substances over a period of time. Due to the burden, it will get damage. Now we'll see physiology of respiration, so which means the functionality of respiration. So basically, there is a respiration is two types: aerobic and anaerobic respiration. When we see aerobic respiration, it is basically a process which living organisms or their components take oxygen from the atmosphere to oxidize their food and obtain energy. That is aerobic respiration. Living organisms in the sense humans, animals who breathe like us, who takes oxygen from the atmosphere. So anaerobic respiration, it is a kind of process by which organisms or their components obtain energy from the chemically combined oxygen, by which or when they do not have access to the free oxygen. That is anaerobic respiration. Like we can see yeast, fermentation, even
Sir,
mussels or certain
sir,
bacteria, which,
can you take
yeah,
one of the example for that?
uh, even yeast, even our STP process also, it is an anaerobic respiration process. Some of the STP processes, even certain bacteria also used to get their oxygen through anaerobic respiration. So basically, due to the chemical reaction, they will get the oxygen, not like us. For us, we'll basically do a general breathing from the atmosphere. So whatever is there, oxygen in the atmosphere air, will consume it. There is no specific chemical reaction which is happens, and the other gases which will going to be exhaled. But in anaerobic process, that is not a free oxygen which they get. Due to the chemical reaction, whatever the oxygen which obtain, they consume that oxygen.
That means the environment is a chemically environment. So due to
Yes,
that, we use
chemical.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, okay, sir.
Yep, thanks. So many organisms can respire anaerobically for a short time only, but certain bacteria depends on entirely on anaerobic respirants. So basically, anaerobic respirations, it happens very rarely whenever there is no free oxygen available. But certain bacteria, they completely depend on this kind of respirations. Okay. Then respiratory quotient. So it is nothing but there is the ratio of volume of carbon dioxide expired by an organism or tissue to the volume of oxygen consumed by it over the same period. So basically, how much of oxygen you are exhaling. Then respiratory pigment. It is a substance formed in the blood cells or blood plasma that is capable of combining loosely and reversibly with oxygen. It is nothing but hemoglobin. Pigment is nothing but it is a kind of clotted cells, creation of blood clots. So basically, blood is in a free flow, so it will get clotted. Now we'll see muscle contraction and muscular work. Again, these are also very important when we say physiology of work. So if we say muscle contraction, there are about 200 skeletal muscles in our body approximately. Many consists of bundles of muscles, uh, each of which is wrapped as it is a total muscle in a connective tissues in which nerves and blood vessels are embedded. So 200 skeletal muscle bones which will are bundled together. It is bonded to stay connect. When you say these tissues combine to form in a tendons that connect the end of the muscles to the bones. Tendons is nothing but where you will have a connection between the bones and the muscle. Especially if you see in any meat, I mean not on the chicken and all. Chicken also you will see the difference from the muscle and the these tendons in between. There is a white color portion. Especially in the mutton, you can definitely see such a difference. The tendons and the muscle. Basically, they're in white in portion. They act like a rubber, rigid rubber kind of structure they have, and it is by the filaments or elongation is brought about the external forces. So basically, muscles will happen contraction and due to the elongation, the muscle get elongated, any external forces are applied. For the elongation, I can give a simple example. So if anybody doing an exercise, the basic dumbbells we do for biceps, so that is the elongation of muscle. The external force is which we are giving over the dumbbell, taking lifting up, there the muscle elongation happens. Then muscular work. So when we say muscular work, during the muscular work, the physiological functions changes from resting level and heart rate, blood pressure, cardiac output, respiration, pulmonary ventilation, oxygen uptake, carbon dioxide production, chemical composition of the blood and urine, body temperature, rate of respiration, etc. increases. Okay, don't get worry with so many things. So it is simple that whenever you are doing something, performing an activity, so automatically the requirements or the functionality of your internal organs will differ. The simple example is when you are simply sitting in a chair, the functionality of organs is different. When you are running, the functionality of organs or the requirement of your body is different. In the sitting position, in ideal sitting position, it will be normal. Even your respiration requirement to your body. So once you started running, your oxygen intake will go up because you need more oxygen to your muscles to function well, to run well. Then your cardiac output, which means your heartbeat also will rise up. Even your number of respiration cycle also will up. Even your blood pressure will increase. Even your heart rate also will increase based on your muscular work. So simply, whenever you are working, your muscles are under work, under stress, automatically all these things happen. Okay, they come back to the resting level when the work stops. Even simple example, when you are running, you will get sweat and you will be suffocating. Your breathing cycles or respiration is very fast. So once you settle down, slowly your systems come back to a normal. Like how bike engine, when you are running, it will be very hot. So after parking it aside for 1 hour or 2 hours, so the engine will cool down. The same way, it will come back to the resting level when the work stops. The period during which the work continues to known as a work cycle. So the period which the work continues is known as working cycle. It means the running started till you stopping, that is called a work cycle. And the period during the physiological functions return to the resting level is known as recovery period. అంటే మనము ఎంత టైంలో పరిగెత్తామో, ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ నేను 8 o'clock నుంచి 8:15 వరకు పరిగెత్తాను. సో అది వచ్చేసి నా వర్క్ సైకిల్. సో 8:16 నుంచి 8:30 నేను వరకు ఆపేశాను, అది నా రికవరీ పీరియడ్. ఓకే, దట్ ఈస్ ద సింపుల్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్. So even some of the people, they used to have an workout or in the gyms and etc. So they used to give some time for recovery. So they'll have in between a break for 1 day for gym. That is also called recovery period. Then physiological factors involved in the muscle activity. What are the factors which will involve? One is the fuel or combustion, which is nothing but nutrients. Example: carbohydrates, fat, and protein. Their intake and storage. Then respiratory quotient, so the ratio of carbon dioxide produced to the amount of oxygen consumed, that is also will increase. A role of oxygen, so again, whenever it will get, demand will be more and the requirement also will be more. Supply and oxygen extraction. Cardiovascular functions, which is nothing but cardiac output, stroke volumes and stroke rate, even blood pressure, respiration, tidal air or pulmonary ventilation, air volume exhaled per minute. So that is the one factor. How much of air you are exhaling in a minute of time. Then body temperature. So these are the few physiological factors will involved in our muscular activity. It is not about only running. Even you are working any physically, uh, job needed. Even the mission operator or construction worker or maintenance team or any type of activity where you are uh, physically you are involved or you are doing with your own energy. So when we say the physiological reactions involved in the muscular works, how this whatever the what are the reactions will you could see in the uh, muscular work, basically which are the intensity of muscular activity, so cardiovascular reactions and aerobic work capacity, then age, so aerobic work capacity, heart rate responses, pulmonary ventilation, blood lactic acid concentrations, then male female as stated, then body blood, then physical fitness or health, aerobic capacity, heart rate and respiration. Aerobic capacity in the sense the few people, if they run for just a few meters, they will get suffocated because their capacity is less, or they are not uh, ready to run such a distance, or they are not physically fit because the body is not habituated with that activity. So whatever you train, whatever you teach your body will respond like that. Suddenly all of a sudden you can't run for kilometers, or you can't run for even for few meters as well, because your body has not done ever such activity, so it is not ready for it. The nutritions, so the frequent meals, or the nature and the quality of food also, which is very critical aspect with respect to the muscular work. Then training, heart rate, blood pressure, stroke volumes, etc. Then temperature and humidity of the work environment, that is also very important in the muscular work. So cardiac output, it depends on, and recovery, heart rate, body temperature, work output, and clothing. So whatever the clothing you are using, that is also very important in the muscular activity. That is where, especially in the summers, everybody is to suggest have white color clothing, so you'll not get uh, more with the sunlight. If you're wearing any dark color shirts, so the radiant heat will be very high, so you'll feel more hot. Now we'll see some of the limits of manual lifting and carrying. When we say muscular work, so one of the key activity we could see lifting and shifting and carrying. That's where our most of the muscles will involve and where we spend most of our energy. One is the horizontal hand location in front of the midpoint between the ankle and the origin of the lift. Then vertical location at origin of the lift. So these are some of the factors which will limit. Then vertical travel distances between origin and destination. So that is also will have a more impact. We can't carry, you can't do, or you can't have a weight 50 kilo of bag. You can't, take it for kilometers. Then average and the maximum sustainable frequency of lift. So how frequently you are lifting per hour or per minute? How many lifting activities you are doing? And load is lifted by two hands directly in front of your body, and no twisting during lifting. So this is also important. Once you are lifted, so you have to go in a same direction. even twisting is not supposed to be. If you're doing twisting again, so you're going to have further impact on your body. Okay. Then the load width is moderate, 30 inches or less. So that is also one limitation. If the load is a more width, so again you will have more impact. You will not have a balance. You can't be able to hold it properly. Working posture is not restricted. Sometimes will have a restriction in the sense only standing position or only bending position or frequently bending and standing or sitting positions. No such kind of restrictions. And good couplings or grab are applied hand while handling or shoes with the floor. So handling of the load, having proper grip. Then physical environment is favorable. So when we say physical environment, the work environment which you are working, whether it is in a controlled environment or you are working in a direct sunlight, that is the physical environment. Okay. Now we'll see the physiological safe limits for continuous work. So if a person has to work for 8 hours or a continuous work, what will be the limits? So basically, everybody have their own limitations with their capacities. So it is obvious that no man should be required to work continuously at a maximum capacity. So at maximum capacity in the sense, your capacity is 50 kilos of back. So you will have energy 1 or 3 hours. So 4 hours, you can able to for 1 hour 10 bags you can shift from one place to other place. So for the entire 8 hours of duration, you will not have same amount of energy with the maximum capacity. It is not practically possible. For the safe and efficient work of various systems of our body, a safety margin should be established for upper safe limit or acceptable workload for continuous work. So instead of 50 kg, if we reduce to 25 kg, in such a case, yes, you can able to work for 8 hours effectively. You can carry the 25 kilo bags per hour. They will given a target for 10 bags. So for total 8 hours, you can able to carry the 25 kilo bags. Okay. But if you say how much weight is permissible for the safe lifting, sir? So as per the Factors Act, 35 kilo for the male, that is the safest limit, if I'm not wrong. Okay. So here to we have to establish or create an acceptable workload for continuous work. So how much weight can be ideal for a person can do continuous work for 8 hours of duration. That is our maximum working hours. So besides the knowledge of maximum aerobic power, the maximum and aerobic power in the sense maximum work capacity. One second, guys. Okay. So when we say aerobic power, which is nothing but the maximum work capacity of an individual, it is essential to know the work limit for sustained physical work for a job placement and efficient functioning of the workers in a day-to-day work. In some work situation, the workloads in the some tasks are so heavy that the workers are put to undue physiological strain and consequently result in fatigue. So we have to understand, we have to see the workload of the people. Not all the tasks, but some tasks will have very heavy workload. So resulting what will happen, physical strains and consequently result in fatigue. When we say fatigue, again they are not able to join for next 3 4 days duty, or musculoskeletal disorders. All these things will happen. So to look into it, researchers in our countries or abroad have suggested that upper safe limit for the continuous workload should be around 40% of individual maximum work capacity. So when we say continuous workload will be 40%. So in the previous example, I have taken 50 kilo. So if I take an easy example like 100 kilos, that is your maximum work capacity for 1 hour or 2 hours or 3 hours. So if at all the organization is expecting you to work for continuously with full capacity, you have to reduce it to 40 kilos so that he can work for 8 hours without any fatigue. So the physiological fatigue is avoided by days of work, peak loads, or even 20% time of working day should be reduced by mechanization to make the heavy jobs to the light ones. Even 20% of time of the workday should be reduced. That's where we used to get. I mean, after if as per the Factors Act, if any person is working for 5 hours and above, so there we'll get a break time. 30 minutes of break time should be it should be must. That's where we used to have tea breaks in the organizations. That is a break time. That is they are suggesting us at least 20% of work day time should be reduced, and also the heavy loads or the heavy activities can be mechanized so that you can avoid the burden, and also to avoid the heavy jobs to light jobs. Okay, that is about physiological safe limit for the continuous work. Now they're telling 40%. Now we'll see how we can assess the assessment of the work capacity of an individual. So for doing this, the test of physical fitness, the test exercises are carried out by the ergometers, stepping test, treadmills, bicycle, or running. So when we say with this, we can see the physical fitness of a person. So as a precautionary measure, the person should be medically examined prior to the testing and also after the maximal testing. So before conducting this test, a person should only medically examined before the testing. So one of the test is physiological test, which is step test. So how it is conducted? A step test was developed in the Harvard Fatigue Laboratory in USA to evaluate the physical fitness of an individual. It is modified for the Indian workers and also described below. So how Indians it is performed? While carrying out the test, a person has to step up and down on a stool which is 40 meters height, 45 centimeters height. అంటే ఒక మనిషి అనేవాడు ఒక 45 సెంటీమీటర్ల ఎత్తు ఉన్న ఒక స్టూల్ పైన ఎక్కి దిగటం. The height high at the rate of 30 complete steps per minute for a maximum period of 5 minutes. It means ఒక మినిట్కి 30 complete steps he has to do it for 5 minutes. It means almost 150 steps. Or earlier in case of a difficulty, even sometimes it is lesser, the rate of stepping is regulated by the metronomy. Immediately after the exercise is over, the subject is seated. Subject means a person or who is following in the test is seated, and his pulse is counted during period for 1 minute to half minute after the exercise. So basically what they do, they'll given a 45 centimeters height stool. So you have to step up and step down for 5 minutes. In each minute you have to complete 30 steps. Totally you do 150. So after this 5 minutes of exercise, after the exercise they will take your pulse for 1 minute to 1.5 minute after the exercise. So if you see the results, the fitness score is duration of stepping seconds into 100. So how many seconds you have done, 50 seconds or 60 seconds or 100 seconds. 5.5 into half minute recovery pulse count recorded. In a half minute, how many pulses you have recorded. So there you will get a score. So below 50 is poor, 50 to 65 low average, and 65 to 80 high average, and 80 to 90 you are physically fit. That is a good the score if you get. Okay, that is an equation where you can check your physical fitness. Okay, the test score which is computed from the pulse count taken during the recovery after exercise is a measure of an individual's cardiovascular efficiency and can be made use of grading men for their capacity for physical work in general and is and in a hot environments in particular. So this is done for the people who are working in the hot environments. This kind of test. Then a preliminary function test. This is also one of the tests. We'll see the lung capacity of the people, especially in the periodical medical examinations. Also, we used to carry out this preliminary function test. Okay. In this test, a sample test is which, and again, ergometer is used to measure exhaled air volume, and by the comparing it with a standard average volumes. Exhaled air means whatever you are exhaling, and మీరు పీల్చి వదిలేస్తున్న గాలి volumes. The physical fitness of or any disorder is judged based on the average standards. They will compare with the average standards versus your exhaled amount of air. The other exercise tests are also used to determine the physiological load and also functional capacities of the cardiorespiratory system in the abnormalities. Example, an electrical activity of the heart rate, cardiovascular diseases, or improvement after illness or injury. If in a young adult, 170 beats per minute has been widely used as a level at which the intensity of work indicates physical working capacity. That is the 170 beats per minute. That is your heartbeats. It indicates the physical working capacity for an young adult. Then fatigue and rest allowance. So again, physiological fatigue is characterized by the gradual decrease of work performance affected by various factors again. So one is physiological, and also psychological wrong working postures. It is manifested by so gradual increase in the physiological strain and also the work of the day progress. So when we say fatigue, it is increases whenever your the physical work increases or muscular work increases. Okay, so for the time being I'm stopping here. We have less than a half minute. I'll share the presentations. I mean, yesterday we had one presentation and day before yesterday, and even this presentation also I'll share with you in